Hi, I'm Dan from Plant to Health. What are starchy foods and why you should be eating them every day? Coming up next. What I'm going to say is going to sound controversial to a lot of people, but starchy foods are the foundation of human civilization. Humans, as it seems to appear according to the latest scientific research, did not evolve through eating meat, but through eating starchy foods, mainly tubers, like the ancestors of the modern day potatoes and sweet potatoes and other tubers that are found in the northern hemisphere. Those starchy foods have been the cornerstone, the nutritional cornerstone of all large human civilizations. If you think about it, Southeast Asia has eaten rice. The Middle East has eaten grains like wheat. Africa has seen grains like sorghum. South America has eaten potatoes, corn, beans, and so on. So the vast majority of the calories have been obtained from starchy staples. The vast majority of calories in most large, successful human populations has been obtained from starchy foods, from staples such as corn, rice, wheat, barley, potatoes, sweet potatoes. But before we go on, I think we need to take a little step back and say, what is starch? It's not the stuff that you use, well, it is also the stuff that you use to iron your shirts, or used to be used for that, but that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the starch found in the healthy plant foods that you should be basing most of your diet on. Whole plant foods. Starch is a molecule created by plants, which is the way that plants preserve energy, meaning they take the glucose molecules that they produce and they tie them together biochemically to form long chains called starch. Those are considered to be a polysaccharide, basically long chain of glucose molecules tied chemically together. That is the way plants store their energy. We can enjoy that energy, and we have enjoyed that energy. So it seems that we humans have been basing our diet on starchy foods for many thousands of years without realizing it. According to researcher Nathaniel Dominy and colleagues, it appears that we've actually evolved to eat starchy foods. The running theory is that as we migrated from the equator to the northern hemisphere and the colder areas of the earth, we needed another food supply because the tropical fruit available around the equator was not there. And during the cold winter months, we had to find alternate energy sources. Contrary to popular belief, and according to the most cutting-edge archaeology, we were very poor hunters, and we could not rely on hunting for survival. However, what we could do, and what we did do, is rely on underground storage organs like tubers. The ancestors of the modern-day potato and sweet potato and yam were common in terms of our consumption and diet, and those were available all year round. So according to Dominy and his colleagues, what they found is that we had developed an extra gene for the enzyme called amylase, which it is responsible for the amylase enzyme found in our saliva, which is how we start to take starch apart, meaning that is how our body starts to digest starch, by starting to take it apart. That is why, for example, if you start eating a piece of bread, at first it feels neutral, but as you start chewing it, you'll start to feel a sweetness. That sweetness is the amylase kicking in and taking apart, starting to take apart the starch within the bread. So, what's your favorite starchy whole plant food? Is it potatoes, rice, maybe quinoa, or maybe you like beans or chickpeas? Or maybe your favorite is butternut squash. My favorite definitely has to be potatoes. Oven roasted till they're crisp, they're plantastic. Let me know what's your favorite. Comment below. So what gives? Why should you be eating starchy foods, whole plant starchy foods, every day? Well, first of all, they're just delicious. I mean, who could resist a baked potato, some steaming hot rice with vegetables, beans, all sorts of tasty foods, vegetable chili. There's a lot of really fantastic foods that you can enjoy when you're eating this way. And that is one of my favorite things about eating like this. But the main reason that you should be eating whole plant starchy foods is they provide a lot of energy, they give you a sense of satiety, and they're very calorically dilute, meaning meaning they will help you lose weight, like the potato, like whole grains, like legumes, like tubers. Those are all very healthy foods. They have a lot of fiber, they have a lot of water, they will make you feel full and satisfied, and they are not dense in their calorie content. So what are some examples of these starchy foods that you should be eating? Well, first of all, the broad variety of whole grains, such as wheat. Yes, wheat, unless you're allergic or if you're gluten sensitive, wheat can be perfectly healthy to eat. So wheat, rice, barley, oats, quinoa, millet, a broad variety that's available there and that you can enjoy. The entire selection of the wonderful legumes that's available, which is beans, peas, chickpeas, lentils, soybeans, and so on. And tubers, which are potatoes, sweet potatoes, yams, and also squashes like butternut squash, acorn squash, pumpkins, and so on. Those are all starchy whole plant foods which you should be eating every day. So how do you want to be doing this? Well, I'm a disciple of Dr. John McDougall. So it depends whether you're looking to just get healthy or if you're looking to lose weight. If you want to just eat a healthy diet, then you can follow the guidelines of the Starch solution, which say that about 70 to 90% of your plate should contain those lovely starchy plant foods. And the rest can be vegetable, non-starchy vegetables, and some fruit. But if you're looking to lose weight, you can try the maximum weight loss protocol, which means to make sure that 50% of your plate will be those starchy foods, starchy whole plant foods, and the other half will be non-starchy vegetables, such as broccoli, cauliflower, kale, collard, leafy greens, string beans, an endless variety of wonderful non-starchy vegetables that can be made to be delicious, by the way. Now, this is an important caveat. So why do some people fail on a vegan diet? They transition to a vegan diet and they're like, oh my goodness, I'm going to eat a vegan diet. I'm going to be so healthy and I'm going to lose weight and everything's going to be fantastic. And they think of vegan diet as, veggies, because, that's what people eat when they're vegan. So the majority of what they're going to be eating will be things like kale and broccoli and cauliflower and zucchinis and carrots and bell peppers, stuff like that. Now, while those are fantastically nutritious and very good for us, they're also very calorically dilute, which means they have very few calories. You're going to need to eat an enormous amount in order to feel full. So that's why some people try veganism and they feel weak and lethargic and they feel bad. And they don't understand why. And the reason is they're just not getting enough calories. That is the number one reason why people fail when they try a vegan diet. So here's for you, so that you don't fail the vegan diet, what you can do is make sure you're eating at least 50% starchy plant foods, whole grains, legumes, tubers, squashes. Then you're bound to succeed. One thing that I'd like to add is, for those of you who are familiar with this kind of eating, is that I've found that you can't really, contrary to what is said, some people can't really eat unlimited quantities on this kind of diet. Although it is advertised as eat all you can and all you want and no calorie counting and so on. Of course, there's no calorie counting. I never count my calories. But from my own, sometimes bitter experience, I can tell you guys that I have definitely experienced that overeating, which is one of my problems as someone who is definitely a food addict, is just eating way too much. I know it's not fun to limit your quantities, but I'm not talking about starvation, not at all. I'm just saying that you should be aware that you can't just eat huge, massive quantities and not gain weight, because at the end, those are calories and the body doesn't know to ignore them. So if you're eating in a caloric surplus, even though it's harder to do on this kind of diet, you will either not lose weight or you can even gain a little weight, which can be surprising to people. But that being said, it's very easy to eat and be full, satisfied, and content. It's just, I think, a question of being more attuned to our hunger and satiety cues. And many of us have messed those up completely. I know I definitely have. So it took me a long while and a lot of sort of introspective, conscious work to realize and listen to my hunger cues and satiety cues, to where my body says, I'm good. You could put down that fork now. And don't ever be like, whoa, but there's still food on my plate. No, you can put that food back. You don't have to eat it all. If you feel full, and I'm not talking about full like bursting at the seams, but just, I'm good. You need to listen to those cues and stop eating. But other than that, it's wonderful, it's rewarding, it's delicious. There's a million different kinds of dishes that you can make using these delicious starchy foods and other vegetables, of course, and of course fruit, legumes, and all that. You can make really wonderful and satiating food, and mouth-watering food. I highly recommend it. So eat starches, whole starchy plants, to be healthy and energetic and slim. And remember, eat whole plant foods. You only stand to lose the weight, the diabetes, the heart disease, and I'll see you next time.